What's up, Bears faithful? Welcome back to Bears News Fan Report, your #1 destination for all the breaking news, exclusive updates, and in-depth analysis on our Chicago Bears. Today I've got something brewing that's been causing serious debate across Bears Nation, something that could fundamentally change how this offense operates for the rest of this season and beyond. I'm talking about a situation that's been building for weeks, and after what we witnessed in Week 12, it's reached a boiling point that we can no longer ignore. Stick with me through this entire breakdown because what's happening right now could define the trajectory of this team's rushing attack moving forward, and trust me, you're going to want to hear every detail of this analysis. Let me start by painting the picture of where we are right now as a team. The Chicago Bears currently have one of the most productive rushing attacks in the entire NFL after 12 weeks of the 2025 season. We're talking second in the league with 142.3 rushing yards per game under Ben Johnson's offensive system. That's elite production. That's the kind of ground game that wins championships and takes pressure off your quarterback. But here's the fascinating part, and this is where things get really interesting. The composition of that rushing attack, the players who are actually carrying the rock and producing those yards, that's undergoing a dramatic shift right before our eyes, and it's creating some serious questions about the future of this backfield. Rewind back to the offseason, and you'll remember that Bears Nation was practically unanimous in wanting the team to replace DeAndre Swift with an early-round draft prospect. Names like Ashton Jeanty and Tre'Von Henderson were being thrown around constantly. Fans wanted a fresh start at running back, wanted to invest premium draft capital into finding our next franchise back. General Manager Ryan Poles had other ideas. Instead of using a day 1 or day 2 pick on a running back, he waited all the way until the 7th round to select Kyle Monangai out of Rutgers. At the time, it seemed like a depth move, a developmental project. Nothing more than a camp body who might make the practice squad if he was lucky. Nobody, and I mean nobody, expected what was about to unfold. Fast forward to Week 12 against the Pittsburgh Steelers, and we witnessed something that has completely changed the conversation around this backfield. Kyle Monangai didn't just outplay DeAndre Swift in that game. He outplayed him by a significant margin. It wasn't close. It wasn't even competitive. And suddenly, questions that were whispered in the background are now being shouted from the rooftops across Bears Nation. Should Kyle Monangai be our RB1 going forward? Is the DeAndre Swift era in Chicago coming to an end? What does this mean for the future of our rushing attack? These are legitimate questions that demand serious analysis, and that's exactly what we're going to dive into right now. Let's talk numbers first, because the statistics tell a compelling story. Kyle Monangai entered Week 13 with 99 carries for 461 yards and 4 touchdowns. But here's the key metric that jumps off the page: 4.7 yards per carry. That's exactly the kind of efficiency that Ben Johnson wants from his running backs. That's the kind of production that keeps drives alive, that creates explosive plays, that puts defenses on their heels. Monangai isn't just getting volume, he's making every single touch count. He's running with power, with vision, with a hunger that's been absolutely infectious to watch. The kid is a 7th-round pick playing like he was drafted in the 1st round, and that's not hyperbole, that's just facts. Now let's talk about DeAndre Swift, because this isn't about tearing down a player who's given this organization solid production. Swift has 142 carries for 649 yards and 4 touchdowns this season, averaging 4.6 yards per carry. Those are respectable numbers. That's the kind of production that Ryan Poles expected when he signed Swift to a 3-year, $24 million contract back in 2024. Swift has been a professional, he's been productive, and he deserves credit for that. But here's where the narrative shifted dramatically. Against the Steelers, Swift carried the ball 8 times for just 15 yards and committed a fumble. 8 carries, 15 yards, 1 fumble. That's the kind of performance that raises red flags, that creates doubt, that opens the door for someone else to seize the opportunity. and Kyle Monangai walked right through that door. The contrast between the two backs in that game was stark. While Swift struggled to find running lanes and couldn't generate any momentum, Monangai was breaking tackles, hitting holes with decisiveness, and consistently moving the chains. It wasn't just about the raw numbers. It was about the eye test. Monangai looked like the more explosive back, the more dynamic playmaker, the guy who could change the game with one touch. That's the kind of performance that forces coaching staffs to have difficult conversations about depth charts and playing time distribution. Here's where it gets really interesting from a fan perspective. I ran a survey asking Bears Nation whether Kyle Monangai should take over as the RB1 for the rest of the season, and the results were overwhelming. We're not talking about a close split or a divided fan base. The numbers came back crystal clear. Bears fans want Kyle Monangai to be the guy moving forward. This isn't just a vocal minority or knee-jerk reaction to one bad game from Swift. This is a genuine groundswell of support for a seventh-round rookie who has earned every bit of the hype through his performance on the field. Now let's break down what this could mean strategically for the Bears moving forward. If Ben Johnson and the coaching staff decide to make Monangai the primary ball carrier, it fundamentally changes the identity of this offense. Monangai brings a different skill set than Swift. He's more of a downhill runner, a physical presence who can wear down defenses in the fourth quarter. Swift is more of a finesse back, someone who relies on lateral agility and receiving skills. Both have value, both have roles they can fill. But if you're asking me which style fits better with what Johnson wants to do offensively, I'm leaning toward Monangai's physicality and efficiency. There's also the financial component to consider here. Swift is making significant money on that 3-year deal, and if a seventh-round rookie is outperforming him consistently, that creates some uncomfortable questions about resource allocation and roster construction. Now, I'm not saying the Bears should cut Swift or anything drastic like that. He still has value as a change of pace back, as a receiver out of the backfield, as a veteran presence in the running back room. But if Monangai continues producing at this level, it's going to be really hard to justify giving Swift the majority of the carries. The emergence of Kyle Monangai is one of the most pleasant surprises of the 2025 season for the Bears. Nobody saw this coming. Seventh-round picks aren't supposed to come in and immediately challenge for starting roles. They're supposed to be developmental projects who maybe contribute on special teams and work their way up gradually. But Monangai has thrown that script out the window. He's seized every opportunity, made the most of every touch, and forced the coaching staff to give him more responsibility. That's exactly how you earn playing time in the NFL, and Monangai has done it the right way. Looking ahead to Week 13 showdown against the Philadelphia Eagles, it's anyone's guess how the running back pecking order will shake out. Will Ben Johnson stick with Swift as the starter and give him a chance to bounce back from that rough performance against Pittsburgh? Or will he ride the hot hand and give Monangai the majority of the carries? My gut tells me we're going to see a more balanced split, with both backs getting opportunities to prove themselves. But if Monangai continues outproducing Swift, this decision is going to make itself. You can't ignore production, you can't ignore efficiency, and you can't ignore what the tape is showing you week after week. Here's the bottom line, and this is what I really want you to take away from this analysis. The Chicago Bears running back situation is in flux right now, and DeAndre Swift's status as the unquestioned RB1 is being seriously challenged by a seventh-round rookie who's playing out of his mind. Kyle Monangai has earned the right to be in this conversation through his performance on the field. He's averaging 7 yards per carry. He's scoring touchdowns. He's making plays in crucial moments, and he's got the support of Bears Nation behind him. Meanwhile, Swift is dealing with the reality that one bad performance can shift momentum and create doubt. This is the NFL. This is a production-based business. And right now, the production is tilting heavily in Monangai's favor. So here's what I want to know from you, Bears Nation. Do you think Kyle Monangai should be the starting running back for the rest of this season? Should DeAndre Swift's role be reduced to a change of pace back and receiving specialist? Or do you believe Swift deserves more time to prove he's still the guy? How would you handle this backfield situation if you were making the decisions? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, because this is exactly the kind of topic that deserves real discussion and debate from our community. And if you haven't already, make sure you're subscribed to Bears News Fan Report and hit that notification bell so you never miss an update. We're bringing you the latest news, the deepest analysis, and the most comprehensive coverage of your Chicago Bears. Share this video with every Bears fan, because this running back situation is something the entire fan base needs to be talking about. Smash that like button if you're excited about Kyle Monangai's emergence and what it means for this offense. I'll catch you in the next one. Bear down.